بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم واجعلنا مما يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. Today inshallah we are going to talk about Sifatul Ma'ani, the attributes of the meaning. We finished talking about the attributes of negation, and today we're going to talk about the attributes of meaning. And when we talk about the attributes of meaning, we need to know what's the difference between the attributes of the meaning and the attributes of negation. So the division of the attributes is like that. Let's see. So we say the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is either existed or not existed. So the attributes either existed or no. If the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is existed, so that's the attributes of the meaning. If the attributes of Allah not existed, so it's either So it's either it indicates about the al-adam, nothingness, or annihilation, let's say nothingness. Or no. Okay, look, let's say something better than that. So if the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala existed, so it's the meaning, or not existed. If it's not existed, so it negates something not appropriate about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is as-sifat al-tanzihiyya. If negates something, so that's the negative attributes. Which is oneness, beginninglessness, everlasting, uniqueness, independence. The five negation or negative or negation attributes. So if it's negate something, if it's not negate something, we can say no. If it's not negate something, so it's either something necessary for the being, or not necessary for the being. If the necessary for the being, we say the self attribute In Arabic, it's الصفة النفسية, which is the existence, الوجود, existence. If it's not, that's الصفات المعنوية, which is الأحوال. That's what الإمام السنوسي will prove, inshallah, in al-Barahin. Okay? That's the attributes of what? That's the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What we finished so far, we finished at the very beginning, we proved that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is existed. So we proved this self-attribute, the necessary existence of Allah. And then we started to explain the negative attributes. What is the negative attributes? The negative attributes is telling us that some meanings that not appropriate for Allah. So it negates these meanings according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then now we're going to explain the existed attributes, which is the attributes of meaning. And we say the attributes, this is the proper way to explain. First is at-takhliyah, like erasing any corrupted thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then filling you with the proper knowledge and a proper attributes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributed with. In Arabic, we called it at-takhliyah thumma at-tahliyah. Okay? So today's topic is the attributes of meaning. So let's talk about the attributes of meaning. The attributes of meaning actually these are kamalat, these are something like transcendence, okay? We say that the attributes of meaning is endless. There are numerous, like non-countable, non-counted or non-countable attributes meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributed with and actual and real. But we're going to talk about only 7. Is those the only 7 that we acknowledge or we approve for Allah? No, we say that there are infinite number of meanings. We don't know. But what we're going to talk about is the 7, some of them. We're going to talk about some of them. And those are the main 7 meanings, main 7 attributes. So let's see those 7 attributes. We have the power. In Arabic, it's called al-Qudra. And then we have the will, which is al-Irada. And then the knowledge, al-Ilm. And then life, al-Hayah. Okay. And then okay, how many are those? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 meanings, we're going to prove them from the rational. We're going to give the arguments and the proof for those 4 attributes by rational and by the revelational. بالعقل والوحي والقرآن. And then we have another 3. Those other 3, we're going to give only a revelational argument. Does that mean that the next 3 attributes here, we cannot prove them rationally? No, we can. But in this book, Al-Imam al-Dardir didn't talk about the rational arguments. And in the advanced books and higher books, we're going to know that it's better to prove them revelationally. And what we can do by rational, not to say that those are necessary from the rational view. We're going to say it's not impossible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is attributed with those 3. So if it's possible, and we prove that the revelation is necessary, so anything that the revelation says, it will be necessary. So those 3 are necessary by this argument. What are those 3? Al-Basar, seeing, and then As-Sam', hearing, and then Al-Kalam, speech. Today, we're going to talk about the first 4. Al-Qudra, the power, the will, the knowledge, the life. Al-Imam al-Dardir started with the knowledge. What is the knowledge? The knowledge is an attribute by which everything will be clear to Allah. And when we say that everything will be clear, we mean the possible, the impossibles, and the necessary things. So, what is the knowledge? Knowledge is an attribute by which everything is revealed as it is. And when we say everything, we doesn't mean the possibles, al-mumkinat. No. We mean the possibles and the impossibles and the necessary things. And everything will be revealed in a way by the thing how it is, by the virtue of the thing is. And in a way that cannot be contradictory. So that's the knowledge. The second attribute Al-Imam talked about is al-haya, the life. And by the way, in the Sanusiyat, we will see that Imam Sanusi will talk about the attributes in a better way. They are very organized and will shape your mind and sharpen your mind to understand how we build the arguments. And Imam Dardir talked about first knowledge in this book here. I'm reading from this book. And yeah, it's not bad, but I think Imam Sanusi is more organized. So here he started with al-ilm. And then the life. Life, it's an attribute working as a condition for the rest of those 7 attributes in order to be exist. Like, you know that the being that is powerful to do things and has a will to select between the possibles, it's important to be knowledge. You cannot select something you don't know, right? And the being that has a power, will, knowledge, it's for sure has a life. So life is a condition, it's an attribute, work is a condition that makes the rest of the 7 attributes valid somehow, okay? So life, it's an attribute working as a condition. A condition of that gives the existence to the rest of them. Condition of the existence of the rest of the 7 attributes. And then Al-Imam will talk about the power. So the power is you need to know something. We said that this is an attribute, but you have to know that this is eternal. And this is also eternal. It's not emergent. It's not haditha. And also power is eternal. It has no beginning. So the power, what is the power? The power is an attribute by which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the ability to give the existence to the possibles or to annihilate the possibles. So the power is only for the possibles, has a relations with the possibles. So when someone, the naive atheist that gives some questions to Muslims, is it possible, or is it possible that Allah create a rock, a very heavy rock, that Allah Himself cannot astaghfirullah, carry or control? Or is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create another being and make it a god and erase the power from Himself? You know, these things are impossible. And we say the relation of the power rationally is only has a relation with the possibles. And then Al-Imam talked about the will. I'm sorry for the kid. Okay. So the will. The will also has no beginning. It's an attribute that has no beginning. It's eternal attribute by which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can select some possible things. Can select possible things only. Okay. So you need to know that the power and the will has a relation with the possibles. And the impossibles, the will and the power has no relation with the possibles and necessary things. Because it's necessary by virtue of what it is, of who he is. And this is impossible by virtue of what it is. So the possible things is the only thing that can be existed. And in order to exist something, in order to something to be exist, we need a power and we need a will. Power to create it and will to select it, and knowledge to work with the will. Now, in this book, Al-Imam al-Dardir gave a very easy argument to prove the existence of those four attributes: life, knowledge, will, power. While in the higher books, we will discuss more strong arguments. But let's read the arguments we read here. And in the English book we're going to read with Liam, the arguments is different from here. So I'm mentioning the arguments of Al-Imam al-Dardir himself. So what is the argument? The argument, Al-Imam says, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not attributed with one of those four attributes, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not attributed with the power or will or knowledge or life, he will be attributed with the one against. Because we say, for example, let me give you an example of something. If I have a particle, and this particle is a particle like a body. Let's say it's a body, okay? So a body cannot be without either a movement or stillness, like haraka or sukun. Any body, it's either moving or not moving. It cannot be together, moving and not moving, or it cannot be neither of them, like not moving and not moving, like not stopping and not moving. That's impossible. So this is exactly what Al-Imam wanted to say. He wanted to say, we proved that there is a being. Okay? It's necessary being. And there is a universe, world. This is possible. This is emergent, contingent and emergent. And according to this, we see here a very fine-tuned universe. It can be in another shape. It can be with another constants. It can be with another physical existence. But it's like this. Now, in order to be like this, so this being, this necessary being, it is important to have some qualities to give the existence to this being. Now we say those qualities are power, will, knowledge for sure, and the condition of those is life. Okay? So Al-Imam says, look, if this being is not attributed with this, it has to be attributed with the against. So the power is, the against of power, he will be powerless. He has a lack of a power. He has no will. He's ignorant. تعالى الله عن ذلك. And he is not alive, dead. Okay. Because the being, it has to be attributed with something, exactly like a particle. Astaghfirullah, it's not exactly like, we're giving an example. So this body, it has to be mutahayyiz, it has to be like in a place, and either in sukoon, either still in his place, or moving, right? Either this or this. That's exactly what the Sheikh says, what the Imam says. He says that the necessary being has to be attributed with something. So it's either this or that. Now, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attributed with this, we will never see this existence. But we see this existence, the fine-tuned universe. That's why it cannot, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, impossible to be attributed with these attributes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to have this qualities and these attributes. Okay? This is the argument. What's the time now? How many time we have since the beginning of the recording? Do you know, any one of you? طيب, no problem. Okay. Maybe 30 minutes. Okay. طيب. And then there is a big debate happened between Ahl Sunnah and al-Mu'tazila with the will. This, he says, okay, not everything happens in the universe Allah will. And Allah will. For example, disbelieving, killing, doing ma'asi, doing the sins. Mu'tazila says, no, Allah did not has a will of this. Asha'ira, Maturidiyya, and Hanabila, they say, no, Allah, this is on Allah will. But you need to differentiate between the will and the command. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing will be in the universe, nothing will exist in the universe, whether it's a particle or a body, jawhar, or accident, arad. This is the existence, okay, according to mutakallimin. Nothing will be exist if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't will it. Every existence in the being is relying under Allah will. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can command someone to do something and he didn't do it. But if he didn't do it, like for example, Abu Jahl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Abu Jahl and all the creation to believe. So what is the command? The command is to believe. But he's kafir, this believer. So he commanded something, but not happen. So what is the will of Allah? The will of Allah is that Abu Jahl to be a disbeliever, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders something against his will. Let's clarify it more. If we have a table like this, this is a logical table. This logical table has two things we need to know. Here, the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here, al-Kayfiyya, we're going to write the yes or no, okay? So, the first case that we have is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a will of something and order us to do it. For example, so the first case, what is the example of it? Is believing of Abu Bakr. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to believe, and he believed, so that's according to Allah's will, because he's a believer. Now the second case is Allah has no will of something. So the first case has a will and has a command. The second case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no will of something and commanded us not to do it. For example, the second case is, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't command us to do something, which is what? According to Abu Bakr also, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, here believing, but here is disbelieving. So the question, did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order Sayyidina Abu Bakr to disbelieve? No. Okay, so here it's no. Did Sayyidina Abu Bakr was a disbeliever? That's no, so it has no relation with the will. The third case, let's see it. The third case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed something, has a will of something, but didn't command us to do it. For example, Abu Jahl he was what? He was disbeliever. Right? He was for sure disbeliever. So if he was disbeliever, so that's according to Allah's will. Nothing will happen against Allah's will. So if he's a disbeliever, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a will that Abu Jahl will be, according to my will, according to Allah Jalla Jalaluhu will, Abu Jahl will be a disbeliever. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him not to be disbeliever. That's the third case. So, he's a disbeliever? Yes. So it's according to Allah's will. So, if he is a disbeliever, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanding us of doing ma'asi? No. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't command Abu Jahl to be a believer, but willed for him something else. Okay. And the fourth case, so it's a logical thing, by the way. So this is correct and this is wrong. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded something but willed something else. That's like what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Abu Jahl something else. Ordered Abu Jahl to believe. Ordered Abu Jahl to believe. But we know that Abu Jahl is a disbeliever. But he ordered him to believe. So what is the command here? The command is to believe. But what is the will? No, the will of Allah is not to believe, Ya Abu Jahl. This is the full thing. Abu Jahl. So Abu Jahl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to believe, ordered him to believe, but didn't want or didn't weld or did not will this to happen. That's what does it mean. So we say as Ahl Sunnah, we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing of the contingent thing will happen against Allah's will. Everything that exists in the universe is according to Allah's will. And Mu'tazila, they says, there's no difference between will and command. Actually, there is, as we proved here now. And we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can will something and order something else and command us to do something else and do and command us not to do something but will something and so on, as we explained. This was the big debate happened between us, between the Ahl Sunnah and the Mu'tazila. Next time, inshallah, we're going to talk about the next three attributes of meaning, which is the speech and the hearing and the seeing, inshallah ta'ala. Now let's read this part from the book. Start, Liam, share screen and start read.
Are you able to see?
Yeah.
Okay. The attributes of meaning.
No, skip this.
Okay. This. Just straight to the... From here?
Yes, start. Look, we're going to read the power, will, knowledge, life, and then you're going to scroll down to read the debate with the Mu'tazila, okay? Yeah, but start from the beginning.
The 7 attributes. The attributes of meaning are existent qualities that Allah is attributed with. Power, qudra, will, irada, knowledge, ilm, life, haya, hearing, sami', seeing, basr, and speech, kalam. There are rational arguments to support the existence of the first 4. The proof for the last 3 is revelational for the purposes of this commentary. Note that some scholars have offered advanced rational proofs for the last 3 attributes as well. You will find those in higher level books on Ilm al-Kalam. Notice that this list is not exhaustive. Allah is attributed with many more attributes than the ones listed above. We know that this is the case because the Prophet ﷺ said the following in his dua: O Allah, I cannot enumerate your perfections like you do, and Allah's perfections are his attributes. The 7 aforementioned attributes of meaning are only the minimum that every mukallaf is expected to know. Power. It was already proven that Allah is the effector of the world, so either the world's existence is necessitated by his existence, or it is not. If Allah's existence necessitated the world's, then the world would have been beginningless. For if an effect's existence were necessitated by the existence of its effector, then the effect would exist so long as the effector does. And since the effector in this case is beginningless, then the effect would be beginningless as well. However, we have already proven that the world is emergent. Therefore, the world's existence is not necessitated by Allah's existence. And since Allah's existence does not necessitate the world's, it must be the case that he possesses the ability to bring the world into existence, despite his being beginningless.
That's another argument other than we explained, which is a very good argument, especially for the philosophers, right? Continue, Jazakallah khair.
As for the revelational proof for this power, it is the many verses describing Allah's act of creating, which is proof for Allah's ability to create. Verses like, Allah is the creator of everything, as well as those verses attributing to him power and control over the world. For example, verily Allah has power over all things. Will. Despite Allah's ability to create the world, it was not necessary for him to do so. This is given that he is not a necessitating cause for the world's existence. Allah must therefore possess the ability to select between creating the world and leaving it non-existent. And this ability to select is all what we mean by will. Thus, he is attributed with will. The revelational proofs for his will are numerous. Amongst them are the verses explicitly affirming choice to him, like, whomsoever Allah wills to guide, he opens their heart to Islam. Also, those verses teaching us that Allah could have created a different world if he had chosen to. This proves that he possesses the ability to select existence for this world over the possible alternatives. Verses like, "And if your Lord had willed to, he could have made all mankind one nation," as well as those verses proclaiming that Allah is free from obligation to do anything. This too is indicative of his ability to freely choose what to create. He does whatever he wills. Knowledge. Given the existence of Allah's will, he must be able to distinguish the specifications that are chosen from their alternatives. Since a being with the ability to make volitional choices must know what those choices are in order to be able to select one of them. The quality by virtue of which such possibilities are made known to Allah is all what we mean by knowledge. Thus, Allah is necessarily attributed with knowledge. Amongst the many revelational proofs for knowledge is, He is the one who knows of the unseen. Nothing is hidden from him, not even a single atom in the heavens and earth, nor anything that is smaller or larger than that, except that it is clearly recorded. Life. Life is the condition for knowledge. The mind of the mukallaf immediately realizes that a being who is aware of its own existence and of the existence of other beings is necessarily alive. As such, it becomes impossible for a being to know anything unless this being is attributed with life. And since we have proven that Allah is attributed with knowledge, this necessarily means that He is also attributed with life. In the opening to Ayat al-Kursi, we read, Allah, there is no God except for Him, the alive and everlasting. And then we will skip over the last three. Distinguishing will from command. Allah's intending for a thing to occur differs from His commanding it. This is contrary to the claim of the Mu'tazila, who believe that His will for something to occur is identical to His commanding for it to occur. The example that makes the above distinction clear is the fact that He commanded belief in Islam from Abu Jahl, even though He did not will for him to accept Islam. And we know that Allah did not will Islam for Abu Jahl because Abu Jahl did not actually accept Islam. Thus, His willing for a thing to occur differs from His commanding for it to occur. From the above, you know of four categories concerning creation. Number one, what Allah has both commanded and willed. For example, belief in Islam from Abu Bakr, since Allah both commanded and willed for Abu Bakr to accept Islam. Number two, what Allah has neither commanded nor willed. For example, disbelief from Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu, since Allah neither commanded nor willed disbelief for Abu Bakr. Number three, what Allah has commanded but not willed. For example, belief from Abu Jahl, since Allah commanded Abu Jahl to accept Islam, even though He did not will Islam for him. And number four, what Allah has not commanded but has willed. For example, disbelief from Abu Jahl, since Allah has not commanded Abu Jahl to disbelieve, even though He willed disbelief for him.
Jazakallahu khairan wa barakallahu feek. This is for today. Next time, inshallah, we're going to continue the next three meaning attributes, inshallah. Okay, you can stop recording now.